Hey, CSFL. It's your child's favorite owner here. It's the Demons. I figured I'd make a video a little more serious. Let's go over some stats. We're at the midway point, almost, of season 10. Hard to believe. Time flies. But we haven't taken a good look at the stats yet. So we're going to go over individual stats today, not team stats, because you get that every week. We're going to look at quarterbacks first. And QB rating. You can see two names that don't usually lead this list, Jay Ballmer and Thomas Brown, each having fantastic seasons. Pat Hall, a usual name on that list, but then William Taylor and Mike Archer round out the top five. We've got a new crop of quarterbacks in CSFL this year, and the ratings are a little lower than usual as well. It's a little harder for quarterbacks in season 10. The defenses are starting to catch up. And I think we start getting into some of the usual suspects at this point with Bell, McNamara, Moore, a new quarterback, Lester Frost. He hasn't had a lot of starts till this year. Benjamin Harris, now on the Piranhas, is in there as well. Yardage wise, usual suspect Pat Hall up there. But Jay Ballmer, after making the championship last year, this guy is upping his game with a new team, and he's having a great season. There's Alonzo Atkins, a usual for yards leaders. Lester Frost and Thomas Brown rounding up the top five. And Thomas Brown definitely does not get in the yards category very often. This guy is having a breakout season, 6 years in the league. He's had some good seasons before, but this is one of his best ones yet. And he may be leading, and he is leading the league in touchdowns. Those same names that we're seeing, Ballmer, Hall, Frost, Taylor, still up there with touchdowns. For interceptions, Lester Frost must be throwing the ball a lot, trying to come from behind, throwing a lot of picks. Ishmael Pitts, unfortunately, throwing a lot too. Harris, Bell, Archer, Caps, Atkins, all with 5. As I've said, defenses are catching up. A lot of good quarterbacks are throwing a lot of picks this year. All right, well, Jeff Baker leads the league in completion percentage. It must have been a fake punt at some point. Fantastic stuff to see. McNamara looks like he's only got one start. His stats we can't really count his stats. Jay Ballmer is throwing 70% completion percentage. Fantastic stat for Jay Ballmer. Thomas Brown has always been pretty consistent with completion percentage. He's doing great too. Mike Archer in his second year, 68%. Some of these QBs are really nailing it completion percentage wise. And there's Ishmael Pitts for the Gorillas making a name for himself as well. Rushing leaders. Look at this top 5. What a group. Johnny Romolo, after getting Rookie of the Year, is just picking up where he left off. And this guy it's not even close. He's 140 yards. He's a game ahead of Rico Bennett. And Rico Bennett's no slouch. But even after that, Rico Bennett's over 100 yards away from Stovall and Crowder here. These are 4 good running backs, and Isaac Cobb almost at 900 yards. Romolo's already hit 1,200 yards, and we're only 7 games into the season. This guy is going to break 2,000 yards. He's got a really good shot at it. He also leads the league in rushing touchdowns. That list, basically the same 5 names reordered. Again, there's Bryce Locker making the list for attempts, not getting the ball as much this year. Rhinos must be throwing more. Rushing average isn't really an indicative stat because it looks like we're getting guys with low attempts. Romolo is your first running back with a heavy workload that has a 8.7 yards per attempt average. This guy is insane. The next workhorse back on the list is Isaac Cobb at 7.2. Still a great stat for Isaac Cobb, but not really close to Romolo. Romolo's running away with this. Bennett's got a great number too. Corey Moore, look at him go. For receiving, Blue Jays Sean Rucker with a solid lead and over 1,000 yards receiving already. Some of these stats are insane in season 10. We are going to have some records broken this year by the look of it. Dave Rogers, the Wildcats, catching a lot of passes, the speedster. Alan Dwight, not the offensive lineman, but the wide receiver for the Werewolves, 32 catches. There's Dorsey. Tony Thomas of the Gorillas up there. Good for him. Another Wildcat. They just throw the ball like crazy there. 31 catches for Troy Jackson as well. Jonathan Barnett, a new wide receiver this year, catching passes from Jay Ballmer, 31 catches. Antrell Adams, another Blue Jay. Some of these teams that they throw a lot. Blue Jays, Wildcats, Panthers seem to be just airing it out. There's another Panther, Max Swain, really spreading the ball out well on those Panthers. One receiver has 31 catches, the next has 30, looking good. And Darius Young, Chad Grant, a rookie receiver for the Wolverines, making a strong case for candidate of Rookie of the Year. He's the first rookie we've seen on this list, and those are some strong numbers from the rookie. Yardage-wise, we kind of saw this already in the last one. This Sean Rucker's running away with this. This guy is leaps and bounds ahead of the next guy, and Dave Rogers is having a good year himself. We've got 4 receivers at 8 touchdowns. 2 of them are Gators. Nicholas Hawk, Darius Henson, 8 touchdowns apiece. Look at those Gators go. Number of receivers at 7. And a few at 6. There's Fine Wine Antoine. Blocking, Earl Amir, a former Rookie of the Year, leading the league in pancakes. David Austin of the Demons, right behind him. Left tackle for our Rhinos, Dominique Phillips, 104. There's our first right tackle, another Gator. Look at these Gators tackles. Earl Amir and Dan Fields. Young tackles, leading the league in pancakes. Those Gators have a strong D-line. We start to round up lots of tackles on here. Let's see if we can find the first guard. There we go. Kendrick McCaffrey of the Wolverines. First guard on list with 71 pancakes. Well, looky here. Irv Orlando, Glenn Anderson leading the league in tackles. Not much different than usual. These guys have been standouts for years. Andrew Smith, a rookie for the Panthers. Major draft pick for this guy. You want to talk about good draft picks? There's one right there. Andrew Smith, 41 tackles on the year for the Panthers. And there's Bears. Bears known for their defense. Jeff Moore's up there too. And another Panther, strong safety, Russell Wright, 40 tackles. Glenn Anderson is running away with the tackles for loss. This guy is going to be chasing a record for sure. And then the list starts to round out after that. But there's another. Look at this strong rookie count right here for the Scorpions. Kelvin Stanley, left outside linebacker, 5 tackles for a loss. Lots of players, 5 tackles for a loss. A couple Panthers in there. There's some Gorillas. We have a 3-way tie for sacks right now. Durfee, Ishmael Tate, and Thomas Robinson. Leading with 4 sacks, all tied. Round out that sack list. We'll see who else is on there. There's a Cobra, Lance Lambert. No big hits. Brendan Fuller gets the nod for leading the league at 0. Leon Jolly, cornerback for the Piranhas. Andre Brooks, one of the top CBs in this league. Doesn't get a lot of press because maybe the Gorillas don't get talked about as much, but Andre Brooks is a baller. And Santonio Robinson, we all know Santonio Robinson of the Bears. These 3 are going to be fighting for the top spot for interceptions. Look at these 3. Ty Ward, the breakout corner for the Wolverines with 2 interceptions. Beatriz with 2. Some of these really young corners. making some plays out there. And there's a veteran, Demon Eric Martin, Demon Tony Miller, another young player with 2 interceptions, Chris Rosario of the Cobras. There's a veteran too, Castorani from the Blue Jays. Like I remember when this guy was drafted, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but 6 years pro now. Holy Glenn Anderson. This guy does it all for the Wildcats. And Jose Pedersen leading the league with 100 interception yards. Let's see if he's got the touchdown. Yeah, he does. Pass deflections. Duke Warner with 10. Leon Jolly up there with 9 as well. Andre Brooks with 9. These guys are up there for top. These are going to be people that you see playing in the Snow Bowl for sure at corner. There's a Gator, Keith Williams, with 9 knockdowns. Fred Smith, it's not his fault. 9 deflections for him. We all know this guy's a gamer out there. He's one of the best players. He's one of the best linebackers in the league. Noah Childs on the Werewolves this year, 8 pass deflections. There's Ronnie Miller dropping. The first one was 7. Lots of Wolverines with 2 forced fumbles. Look at the Wolverines defense must be stepping up big, and it's the reason why they're over 500 this year. Because we all know they had the offense. This is Harvey Howard is an interesting one. Harvey Howard in franchise mode is the only one with a future star badge. Dombrowski from the Demons gets 2 forced fumbles. Another Fred Smith up there again. 2 forced fumbles for him. Another Blue Jay, Rob Henderson, 2 forced fumbles. Blue Jays looking good. Irv Orlando is the only other player with 2 forced fumbles. He's making a case for Defensive Player of the Year. Fumble recoveries. Jamal Levine taking advantage of those forced fumbles from his teammates. 1 safety on the year for Thomas Robinson. Those Wildcats getting creative with how they score. Lots of defensive touchdowns. Let's take a look at the list. Jason Smith. We all know him. Big time player for the Piranhas. Another 2 defensive touchdowns from Piranhas. They've been getting a lot of help from their D. Alan Sterling from the Bears. All right, kicking. Bears kicker Sean Barnes leads the league in field goals. He might also have the longest. Nope. Joe King has the longest field goal, 55 yards. Sean Barnes at 54. Then it starts to level off. Let's see. They do actual points here. No, they don't keep track of scoring for the kickers. All right. Darrell Carey with the nice punting average there. Who's punting the most? The Cobras, Monsters, Rhinos, Scorpions, Bears. Making some of these guys, this is not a stat. You don't want to see your guys out that your punters out there that much. And his average, actually, Chad Stanley, his average is pretty low. He must be hitting the touchbacks a lot. Got a couple punters under 10 punts from the year. Hey, Andrew Archie was talked about. Rookie in the chat, rookie kick returner. Has a return touchdown the year. Also has a pretty solid average. Keon Turner's got the most yards and the most attempts. Kind of an ominous stat. You don't want to have a lot of kick return attempts. Means your defense is letting a lot of scores in. CJ Holiday leading the league in kick return touchdowns. Gets 1 every 10 by the look of it. Keon Turner. Tim Henry for the Bears with 2 on the year. Nicholas Hawk, the 2-year wide receivers, got 1. Michael Gibbs. Wow, look at that. The spreading the love on the Rhinos, Dorsey and Archie. Dorsey paving the way for the new receiver here. Let's see what the longest punt return is here. Josh Ingram with that 19-yard return. That's a tough one. Not easy to get. Not easy to get punt return yards in the CSFL. It is a hard stat. 19 is a pretty long punt return in the CSFL. Pat Hall leading the league in first downs at 72. This is going to be littered with quarterbacks for the first bit. All right, we're back to the start. Hope you guys enjoyed the update on the stats. We'll go through the for the league. We'll go through the teams real quick. See how everyone's doing real quick for the major players. Jimmy Caps. Go through the Bears. Blue Jays did have Patterson in for a bit, which is that's crazy considering how many yards Mike Archer has. He would have had way more if he played those other games. Pierre Palmer, not really a big part of that offense, but they're a throwing team. Mostly to Rucker by the look of it. Cobra's receivers spreading the ball about pretty evenly. Tompkins doing pretty good. Cobra's having a hard time deciding who their quarterback is by the look of it, spreading it around between multiple QBs. Demons, Eric Bell having a good year. Crowder's almost at 1,000 yards already rushing. There's Eric Bell's got a rushing touchdown. Demons wide receiving core also spreading around, kind of like the Cobras. Dragons got their 1-2 punch kid and Perkins up there, and looks like a bunch of other receivers are getting the ball a lot too. Stovall having a great year rushing. Look at that. 12 touchdowns in 7 games, 977 yards. McNeil, the weapon, 3 rushing touchdowns already on the year. To go along with some nice passing yard stats. He is a star. After taking a backseat to Watson for a year, because he started, I believe, in season 7 or season 8. Can't remember. Season 9 was Eric Watson's year for the Dragons. McNeil's back, and he's balling. Thomas Brown having his best year as a Gator by far. Rico Bennett going a long way to help his quarterback. This offense is just on fire. And look at that. A receiver, the tight end has over 300 yards for these Gators. 2 receivers with 8 touchdowns. That's how you win football games right there. Gorillas don't have a lot of high numbers on their yardage here. Burley's having a decent year at running back. Ishmael Pitts not having his best year. Hopefully those Gorillas can improve those numbers. There's that punter again. Love to see that fake punt. Monsters trying to decide who their full-time starter is, still figuring it out. Very similar ratings on these two. Green's got the better completion percentage. Looks like the better yards per game as well. He also adds a rushing element. Interesting to see who the Monsters play more as the season goes on. They also look like they've switched up their running backs between Jackson and Ostrom. Ostrom, one of the candidates for rookie of the year last year. Solomon Briggs leading the way for that receiving core. He is wide receiver 1 on that team. Panthers having a look at this 1-2 punch. Swain and Barnett. Watch out for these Panthers. Those guys are making plays. JT Morris, rookie running back, putting up some good numbers. And Jay Bomber just having a breakout year. Harris has taken the full-time starter role on the Piranhas after stints with the Bears and Cobras. Looks like he's found a home with the Piranhas. Isaac Cobb taking over the rushing role, the successor to Willie Burnside's. It looks like the Piranhas are going to have a tough run game for a long time. Good run game to fight to game plan against. Frank Carroll leading the way for those Piranhas. That's the Rhinos. Wouldn't be the Rhinos if we didn't talk about Randy Dorsey. There he is, 662 yards leading the way. But the ball is getting spread around pretty well here. Craig Jackson, former first-round pick of the Werewolves, now on the Rhinos. I think he's been bounced around a bit. He looks like he's having a good year there. Bryce Locker having a good year as usual. Atkins leading the way for his Rhinos. There he is, Billy Beer League. Managed to keep his rating over 40. And Will Brooks, was the incumbent on this team for a long time. Looks like he got one game this year for the Scorpions, but now it looks like it's Billy Francis's team. Chris Matthews been a running back for the Scorpions the last few seasons. Has that starting role locked down. Jackie Wilson doesn't have those crazy numbers that he usually has. The 9-year vet doesn't list. You watch him play, he doesn't look like he's slowing down. He's still one of the best in the league. And Louis Sherman, just been a great player for the Scorpions since they drafted him. And Justin Porter, one of the top-rated tight ends in the league. There's those Vipers. They like to spread the ball around too. Gary Mason, decent numbers at running. Corey Moore, one of the QBs who wins more games than any other quarterback in this league, having a decent year. And Lester Frost, first, looks like the Werewolves have given him the keys to the car and he's rolling with it. Chris Jones is running back, middle of the pack numbers, like some of these other running backs that get around like 600 yards or so. These receivers, the veteran 99 overalls, Alan Dwight, Shane Antwine. This is a stacked receiving core, and look at how these numbers break down. 5 players over 200 yards. They are spreading the ball around there. Wildcats with just some insane numbers here. Rodgers and Jackson both near league leads in yardage and receptions. Unbelievable. And that doesn't even count for guys like Dante McGrew, who's a high draft pick. This receiving core is stacked. And Aaron Horn having middle of the pack running back numbers on these Wildcats who usually throw all the time. Aaron Horn having numbers that are comparable with some of the other backs in the league is a good sign for the Wildcats offense. And Pat Hall sits back there and just hucks it. This guy, over 2,000 yards already. Will he hit 5K? He's not on pace for it, but he's close. Wolverines, William Taylor, they've been sticking with him for a few seasons now. He gets better every year by the look of it. Romolo's just insane. This rushing yardage number is insane. This guy is going to shatter the record. He's going to shatter it. Same with touchdowns. And somehow his rookie receivers still manages 670 yards when Romolo gobbling up all those run yards. This is an offense to watch out for. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.